Good morning. You are listening to UpReach, a morning devotional presented by the Church Street Church of Christ in Lewisburg, Tennessee, to encourage you as you face the opportunities and challenges of today. Let's begin this day together with some inspiring thoughts from God's holy word. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. What profit has the worker from that in which he labors? I have seen the God-given task with which the sons of men are to be occupied. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. I know that nothing is better for them than to rejoice and to do good in their lives, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 and verses 10 through 13. In our time together yesterday morning, we considered some things William Barclay once wrote about the debit side of life. As he contemplates the ledger of his life, Barclay continues, "Here are some things on the credit side after half a century of life. I find that I am much more sympathetic than I once was. You cannot live for over half a century without seeing how easy it is to go wrong, and when someone does make a mistake now, I am much more likely to say with George Whitefield, 'There, but for the grace of God, go I,' than I am likely to condemn. No one can pass the half-century without having sorrowed and suffered, and to have sorrowed oneself is to be a little bit better able to help others who are going through it. The passing years bring sympathy, and that is no small gift. I find that I am much more tolerant than I once was. It is not that I am any less sure that certain things are right, and it is not that I am no longer willing to argue as hotly as I can, and even, as Goldsmith said of Dr. Johnson, to try to knock a man down with the handle of it if my pistol misfires. But I am very much more willing to admit that perhaps I may be wrong, and that there are many more ways to draw a conclusion than the way which I have found. I think that the years do not make one any less sure that he is right, but they do make him less sure that everybody else is wrong. I find that I am much more selective in what I undertake to do. I suppose that subconsciously one knows that time is not as long as it once was, and one must concentrate on the things which really must be done. The years tend to give us a sense of proportion, and a better ability to see what is important and what does not really matter. As the years go on, you come to see time not as an enemy, but rather as a friend. For the odd thing about time is that when one stands still and reckons up the balance, time gives as much as, and probably more than, it takes away. What about you today? As you look back over the life you have lived to this point, has your time been well spent? Have you made the most of the time God has afforded you? Are you using your time in a way that brings Him glory? Why not ask God today for the discipline you may need to make the best use of the time you have to live here on this earth? This has been UpReach, a presentation of the Church Street Church of Christ in Lewisburg, Tennessee. I am Kyle Bolton, the pulpit minister at Church Street, and I would like to personally invite you to come and share times of Bible study and worship with us each week. We meet every Sunday at 9 o'clock a.m. for our morning worship, followed by our Sunday school for all ages at 10:15 a.m. Then we meet again at 6 o'clock p.m. for our evening worship. We also have a midweek meeting for devotion and Bible study on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. I hope to see you there. Have a blessed day.
I am a hard-fighting soldier on the battlefield. I am a hard-fighting soldier on the battlefield. I am a hard-fighting soldier on the battlefield. I keep on bringing souls to Jesus by the service that I give. I've got a helmet on my head, in my hand a sword and shield. I've got a helmet on my head, in my hand a sword and shield. I've got a